Republicans and future Republicans, welcome to a brand new video. It turns out, after tabulating the research and looking into things, turns out the Democrats are 210% cooked today. I was looking into things, and that is literally what I found out. So not only is Hassan Piker inciting violence onto random Jewish people in America now too, forget Israel, all right? He's already mentioned that he wants all Jews in Israel to be killed, but he is now also looking into finding a way to incite violence against Jews in America. We're going to be looking into that. Also, they're trying to impeach Trump. The person who was leading the impeachment campaign on Trump ended up getting exposed as an alleged animal abuser within 24 hours. This is a really fun day for me specifically. There is so much shit happening in the world. And you know, whenever we have like one of those 24-hour condensed periods of retardation, your boy is gonna pop up to make some content. So it all started, well, it didn't. I'm just showing you this because it's funny. This was posted today. Trump is not immune from prosecution. Duh. Trump is immune. I love this goddamn timeline. What a fantastic day. Anyway, that's enough of that. So recently, during the Trump board meeting, let's just say that RFK Jr. made a pretty crazy discovery, and a lot of people are losing their goddamn mind.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child...
HHS, in case you were unaware, is the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So recognize that. Health and Human Services was a collaborator.
Trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, 300,000 children that were lost in administration.
So it turns out HHS, under Biden, contributed and collaborated to child human trafficking for sex purposes. Does that sound like treason? I don't know what's going on. Like, this is crazy. This is insane, man. Like, what do we even do? What do you do with stuff like this he just releases? And of course, you can have people in the chat, in the audience already being like, proof. We'll wait. We'll see. We'll see if there's proof. Only time will tell. But he didn't say allegedly. He didn't say, in my opinion. He said it in a way that if it was slander, he'd be sued. And when you make a statement where you're putting yourself on the line, that is a statement that I personally am more inclined to believe. So that's insane. For other retards, I want to introduce you to this fellow, Representative Shri Thandor. Sounds like he popped straight out of Lord of the Rings, and he looks like he came straight out of Smeagol's cave. Now, he is leading the charge on impeaching Trump, because that worked so well last time.
This is Congressman Shri Thandor. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy.
Like, immediately. Like, he looks like Jimmy Fallon with bad makeup. Like, this is shocking.
But defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling?
He didn't do that. So he's just lying right now. I love this. I love how first of all, he's coming out in America with his best ever Canadian accent. I can't believe Trump is disobeying a direct ruling from the Supreme Court. Canadian accent and everything. Like, come on, brother. Come on, dude. Not trying to make fun of this guy for that. I'm making fun of him for completely other reasons. Brother, dog, homie, friend. Trump didn't disobey a unanimous 9-0 ruling for the Supreme Court. That didn't happen. Do you want context, or do you want to just hear his lies? I've covered this in other videos. This is like a massive hoax.
That has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump. The court said the wrongfully deported Kilmer Garcia must be allowed to return.
Liar! Liar, liar! Your pants are on fire! Not just because you eat a lot of curry. No, that is incorrect. You're wrong. They did not say that he needs to return Abrego Garcia. What they actually said was that he needs to, I believe it was help the return. I don't remember the exact wording, but the point was he needed to enable the return of Abrego Garcia if El Salvador releases him. Now, in case you're not aware, Abrego Garcia is a terrorist, MS-13 gang member. This was proven and adjudicated by 2 separate judges in the United States, as well as the government of El Salvador. He is from El Salvador. He is in El Salvador, and he is imprisoned in a prison in El Salvador by El Salvador to an El Salvadorian. Right, the word that they actually said was he need to facilitate the return if El Salvador decides to let him go, which they're not doing. So this is just a lie. It's another hoax, and he's trying to, you know, come up with some clout-sucking support movement to try and impeach Trump for a hoax.
And receive due process. Trump ignored it. He ignored the Constitution. He ignored the very checks and balances that keep our democracy intact. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a dangerous...
Actually, it was an isolated incident. Actually, it was an accident. They deported him to El Salvador. They were supposed to deport him somewhere else. He accidentally went to El Salvador. That was an accident. And now he's going to stay there because he's from El Salvador. He is an El Salvadoran citizen, and he's a prison in El Salvador. This is great. You know, like, why are you fighting for this guy so much? Find better heroes, Democrats. Come on.
Deliberate pattern. That's why
a pattern of one.
Today, I introduced a resolution to impeach Donald J. Trump,
all right,
outlining 7 articles of impeachment.
All right, so he is leading the charge. Leading the charge on impeaching Donald Trump for getting a terrorist out of the country. Damn, that's crazy. Anyway, like the comments are fucking murdering him. Bro came out here with his very best Canadian accent to launch an impeachment campaign on Trump. So obviously, people did some digging. Apparently, this Shri Fanadar guy, the Democrat rep who filed impeachment charges against Trump, reportedly left over 150 dogs and monkeys to starve to death at an abandoned New Jersey lab that he owned. This is the guy that wants to impeach Trump. Look, I'm not trying to get into controversies. Not trying to stir up drama with this shit. I'm just saying, and it's not funny that he left 150 dogs and monkeys to starve, allegedly. This is a retard moment, for real. Like, this is one of those times where you see something sad that happened, and you can either cry that it happened and 150 dogs and monkeys were starved, or you could laugh at the insanity of this. Personally, I think it's healthier to laugh while recognizing that is insanely fucked up. Holy crap, what is going on? At least he wasn't fucking them. I mean, you don't know that. But realistically, that's wild. This is the dude. This is Shri, the guy that is currently trying to impeach Trump. Truly a hero and a savior and an ally to the furry community before he locks them in his warehouse in New Jersey. Or whatever he does. I don't know, personally. I just think it's kind of insane. So anyway, for more hoaxes, definitely subscribe, because the How Fucked is the Democrats franchise is the second most appreciated franchise on the entire internet right now. That's a fact. So I wanted to look at some other crazy shit that's been going on. If you look at the streets of San Francisco right now, it is not really recognizable. Like, this doesn't look like San Francisco. Like, it's wild. I'm not trying to get racist or controversial or anything, but bro, this is San Francisco, one of the biggest cities in the country. Anyway, you see, this is wild because this in fact looks much more like Canada. The White House decided to have a glorious moment where they put up signs on the lawn of all these different arrested illegal immigrants and the crimes that they were arrested for, which is a gigantic big balls gangster move by the Trump administration for sure. Obviously, right now there are currently leftist meltdowns that it is dehumanizing and might cause racism. It might cause racism to call rapists rapists. And this is why I fully support the movement of making retards retards again. We must call retards retards. Like, dude, you are really going out here upset that they're putting the face of sex assault of a child guy over here? Like, what are we talking about, man? Like, nah, dude, this is based. Let the people know what you're fighting for. The media is mad that taxpayer dollars are going to waste by putting up paper signs. Now, the media is not upset that taxpayer dollars are going to waste when it comes to funding transgender mouse surgeries or, you know, other incredible investments like surprise butt sex in Somalia and Iraqi Sesame Street. Nah. That's okay. Burning electric cars? Nah. That's fine. We don't mind. Putting up cardboard on the lawn? No, dude, that is a waste of taxpayer dollars. So anyway, the retards are truly retarding, and it's a great day for everyone. So this is our guy filing the impeachment on Trump. We just saw him. Everyone's bold neighbors to the north, gay North Dakota, as we call them on this channel. This guy, Carney, the new Prime Minister of Canada. If you want my full take on that, you can watch that Canada is 1000% fucked.
And that, again, is one of the reasons we're having this ruthless, relentless focus on net zero, because in the end...
Net zero, that's right, guys. That's right. We just gotta ruthlessly focus on net zero.
Look,
that'll help the company and the country. That'll help people buy houses.
we can't stabilize the climate unless we get to net zero.
That's it, baby. Who cares if we have people that can't fucking afford houses in Canada? We gotta worry about the climate. Huh. Whoa! Plastic straws? Well, get in prison. Oh my god, get out of here. Shout out to Canada, who had the COVID vaccine administration that polluted the environment with millions of masks. But no one cares about that. No one cares about that. We gotta worry about the environment. Fuck the housing market, am I right?
And it's a simple, these are hard numbers. Your emissions are either A or B, they're going up or down, and if they're going down, are they going down consistent with the science? We anchor it in the science, the same science
They anchored in the science.
the UN and others use for the 1.5 degree objective.
Yeah, they anchored into science. Yeah, so they anchored into science, and yeah, Canada voted to self-euthanize despite Trump. That's what happened. Canada hates Trump so much, they made an emergency election to get out the last administration that was in power for 10 years, to vote in the same fucking administration that they had an emergency election to vote out. Yep. Rip Canada. We are reaching a end game for wokeness. If you look into the math here, as you can see, this is GDP per capita. You see Canada and America are pretty close. They're pretty close. You have sometimes America's on top, sometimes Canada's on top. They go back and forth. Drops in 2010. We all remember that. And here's 2015. This is when Trudeau got elected 10 years ago. It stopped. Now the US is winning GDP per capita by a tremendous amount, and Canada decided, you know what? Emergency election. Let's call in the same motherfucker again. Classic Canada. They keep doing things. But don't worry, wokeness is not only taking over in Canada, it's also going batshit insane in England. I want to show you what America isn't just for a second so that you can appreciate a little bit more what America is. This is currently going down in British court, talking about a problem that doesn't actually really exist.
It wasn't the outside influence, it was the influence on social media amongst friends that was the biggest influence. It wasn't a...
You know what they're talking about? The influence? The influence of a character in the show Adolescence, which is a show not based on fact. It is a fake story invented by the government, promoted by the government, about a white kid who killed somebody. And now they are fighting in court to pass laws to prevent a fictional scenario from happening in reality. When ironically, in reality, there are these Pakistan-founded grooming gangs running around in England. There is a massive issue in England where it comes to immigrants committing sex crimes. This is a statistical fact, not trying to get controversial here or anything. But instead of focusing on that, they would much rather imprison people that are posting offensive memes because, dude, that might cause Islamophobia. And they would much rather focus on fighting in court over preventing something that didn't happen in real life from happening.
Named influencer, for example.
No, we
need to pass bills to stop influencers from making things that didn't happen.
There were lots of things that make up Jamie's complicated brain.
They're all talking about Jamie's complicated brain. Jamie's not a real person. Jamie is a fictional character in a TV show called Adolescence.
And there's lots of things, you know, if I was to describe to you what Jamie's brain looked like, it would take me 9 years to describe it, because he's a complicated mess of things, as we all are. Right. And so all these things play a role in his head.
Right.
The social media thing I thought was particularly interesting because there were ideas within it.
Fascinating.
And when...
Yeah, so to be clear, this is the UK Parliament holding a hearing to discuss a white boy villain from a TV show that's fiction. Okay, are we on the same page? Like, are we literally on the same page? This is unbelievable. There are actual crimes and grooming gangs running around in England that you can't criticize, but because, you know, there's no freedom of speech in England. But they have a parliament meeting to discuss the fictional character of a show? Oh my god, this is crazy. It's absolutely insane. But don't worry, there's still some retardation happening in America. I would not do a Democrats is fucked franchise episode without talking about that insanity.
Right now, if a John were to go and try to purchase a 16 or 17-year-old on that blade, and law enforcement were to intervene because of a judge's order right now in Sacramento, law enforcement would not be able to put that person in jail because it's not the solid felony that law enforcement has been asking it to be. So I just want to make sure, like, you're okay with 16 and 17-year-olds continuing to be purchased on this blade for the next year or until you have to dissect this issue in the fall, and these Johns getting let go and just issued with citations?
Well, I don't agree with the premise of the question, but what I would say is I'm not okay with any child anywhere being exploited. But the
God, he's so brave.
solution that we craft, the solution that we pass needs to make sense, it needs to be equitable, it needs to be comprehensive.
What? No, I don't want sex trafficking to happen. But California Democrats reject the bill to make sex trafficking minors a felony. It would hurt equity, guys. Equity would be in danger. Think about the racism that would happen if we make sex trafficking children a felony, guys. That would be crazy. Yeah, we definitely don't want to talk about this. In other words, this is much more important news than sex trafficking children.
He's just a child. All right, get him out. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. I thought it was a guy. Thank you.
Oh, no! Did Trump misgender a child? Someone come for him.
And she now has to go home to a mother who's a big Trump fan.
Oh, that's not
Mother's
easy.
watching.
That's not easy.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said he, and it's a she. I'm sorry.
Trump misgendered somebody. Quickly, call the virtue police. This is crazy. Someone impeach this man immediately. Oh my God. I cannot believe Trump misgendered a protester like that. That's crazy. I can't believe this. Anyway, the protesters are coming in full force. The protesters keep fighting for their rights, and they're so scared of some sort of transgender holocaust until they're actually not in America. That's when they try their best to get back into America.
But y'all, I'd rather go back to America and deal with the racism in America.
Right.
Before I sit here in Africa and deal with the bullshit bribery, the bullshit fraud, the bullshit scam, the bullshit too expensive, the bullshit not having no snacks, the bullshit not having no food.
Yeah, she seems like she cares about snacks.
The bullshit electricity, the bullshit hot water, the bullshit, what's that shit called?
So basically, America bad, but it's way better than anywhere else. I can't believe America is so awful. But it's a good thing America doesn't have rivalry and starvation and food shortages and scams.
We coming down.
Nice.
The bullshit animals is scorpions outside.
Scorpions.
Big ass spiders. It's big ass lizards. Colorful lizards you ain't never seen before. All in the fucking room.
Oh, look how unhappy she is. God damn it. Not unhappy and fat. Truly a terrible combo. American who moved to Ghana to flee from white racism is now desperate to return. Many such cases. God, this is a glorious day. What a glorious day. People fucking around and finding out in real time. Like, it is insane to even see this happen. So I made a full video on this. So I'm not gonna dive too deep into that one specifically. That was just very, very funny. In other news, to see more retardation going on, there's another instance of a judge releasing a suspected Tesla firebomber. You ready to see why?
Bria and John, the government wanted Owen McIntyre to spend the time before trial behind bars, but the judge in Boston sided with the defense in this case, which cited multiple medical issues facing the 19-year-old. All
right, so this person that is, by the way, a domestic terrorist, in my opinion, who allegedly destroyed a Tesla, should not be in prison because of medical issues. Are you ready to hear the medical issues? Are you ready? Medical issues.
Including autism spectrum.
Autism spectrum. Like everyone. Whoa, that's crazy.
Disorder, gender dysphoria, and...
Gender dysphoria, guys. We have to let this stochastic terrorist, in my opinion, out of prison because of gender dysphoria.
ADHD.
ADHD? Not in my prisons. Get those Tesla vandals out of prisons if they have ADHD.
McIntyre's attorney argued the teen should be released citing serious and ongoing medical needs and treatments that could not or would not be provided while in federal detention.
Oh my God.
The defense filing says McIntyre is being treated for depression, and since March...
Oh, the terrorist is depressed. Let them out of prison. Let them out. They're depressed in there. Gotta remove them ASAP. What are we talking about? What even is fucking happening? Serious diseases like depression and ADHD, and that's why we should put them on the street. Now, I'm not saying that depression doesn't exist. Obviously, depression exists. But fucking hell, man, you can't release people from prisons when they're committing violent crimes and blowing up cars and shit. You can't release them out of prison for depression. What are we talking about? In my opinion, if you commit an act of terrorism, then if you're too sick to be in prison, you should be in an asylum. Those should be the options. It's not like, oh, he's depressed, put him back on the streets. That's insane. It's like thinking, my child who's mentally ill that shot up a school, he only really feels better when you give him firearms. We should give him firearms.
Has been receiving gender-affirming care.
Oh, listen, we gotta let them out of jail. They're receiving gender-affirming care. This makes sense, okay? Don't ask questions. It makes sense. Kamala Harris has returned from the ashes, you know, trying her best to look good for her 2028 campaign, which is definitely gonna happen. Oh, she must practice that smile every single morning, because there's no way she's happy after getting humiliated by Trump that badly.
It's good to be home. Thank you. And Dougie's here too.
Could you imagine her fucking debating with China? Could you imagine her actually doing anything remotely powerful? Could you imagine her getting a peace deal between fucking Ukraine and Russia?
Oh, please have a seat.
God, dude. We were so close to fucking oblivion. We were so close to oblivion, man. Oh my God, it's crazy. And Jasmine Crockett, everyone's favorite retard senator, also had some incredible things to say. Congresswoman, whatever she is. She is the Democratic representative in Texas. She always has something good to say. So I wanted to leave us on this before we move on to Hassan Piker and other insanity.
As far as I'm concerned, you randomly kidnapping folk and you throwing them out of the country.
Randomly kidnapping folk. Good way to describe getting rid of terrorists, I think. Yep.
Against their civil rights, against their constitutional rights. And frankly, how would they feel if some other country decided that they were going to just start throwing people randomly in our country? Like,
what do you mean throwing them in our country? Like, what even planet is she on? That's not happening. I mean, it happened when they wanted to put them in the country. That's when it happened. Like, they put their criminals in America because Biden opened the fucking borders. Like, that did happen. What are you saying?
Like, that is absolutely insane. So, yes, all I gotta say is y'all need to get these fools out of here.
Yeah, every time she speaks, it, like, reminds me of what is going on. How do you feel if other people sent people to your country? I don't know, man. I don't know. This is insane. How would it feel if other countries sent people to our country? I don't know, man. I don't know. You tell me. 20 million illegal immigrants, according to Trump, entered America over the last 4 years. I don't know. Good point. Jasmine, you're cooking. Yeah, so this is the person I was telling you about that was released for ADHD and depression. Depression, yeah, no need to be in prison if you have depression. Remember the guy that I showed you? This guy who's impeaching Trump? This is apparently a video of the dogs being rescued from the abandoned New Jersey testing lab owned by the Democrat rep Shri Fanadar. Most of them never experienced being outside before. This is the guy trying to impeach Trump.
Today, we rescued 120 beagles from a lab in New Jersey that had gone out of business. And some friends of ours at an animal rights organization in New York City went and freed them and said, we need to do something with these animals.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's insane. And yeah, apparently this was his lab that he owned. Yeah, I don't know, man. This guy is trying to, get Trump. It's crazy. And it's so wild. Every single time someone talks about these fucking MS-13 people, the Maryland Man narrative, like on Fox News, like it's crazy to see how badly they cook.
But it is also clear that Van Hollen going down to El Salvador did move public opinion on this issue. By 2-to-1 margin, people think that Abreu Garcia should be returned to the United States. And the reason that people are talking about that exchange last night with Trump and Terry Moran about the tattoos is that we were all assured that no one was dumb enough to think that it was actually said MS-13, but it seemed like Trump actually did think that. And there have been a number of experts on gang tattoos, like CBS, I'm looking at an article right now, that they spoke to, who said that these experts did not say that the symbols the judge talked about, the marijuana leaf and the cross.
Then they're
okay.
wrong.
Our gang expert is better than
prosecuted these cases.
That's fine. Either way, public opinion has shifted on this issue. In terms of the kids, the problem with those cases are that those mothers did not get to talk to their lawyers. One of them who had the 2-year-old, this is not the 4-year-old who had cancer, was reported with a 2-year-old, had 2 minutes on the phone to talk to her husband to try to figure out what would happen to her American child. And so, yes, like any mother, they said, I will take my kid with me rather than leave them in a system where I don't know what's going to happen to them.
Makes sense.
I think we can all agree that you should be able to talk to your lawyer before you are deported, especially with your American citizen child.
And I'm sorry, Jessica, I love you, but I don't believe anything you say anymore.
The craziest response, man! Listen, I love you, but you're retarded.
You're wrong about everything.
Oh, fuck.
Every time you come up with these things, first he's a Maryland dad, then actually he does have tattoos that spell MS-13. Yeah, and then there's this other tattoo expert that you have. I thought we were supposed to trust the experts.
Oh, God, he killed her. It's over. It's over. There's no coming back. It's so over.
Right. And all these experts say this guy's a gangbanger, and you don't trust the experts.
Remember when we were supposed to just blindly trust the experts, guys? Now all the experts say he's a terrorist. Now what?
Let me ask you this. When a guy hangs out with MS-13 and gets picked up in a gang sweep, how is it that the MS-13 ranking gang members are allowing a non-gang member to hang out with them? Don't you think that's a little bit of a security risk, Jessica? That's like when, the feds raid a Gambino gambling den. And do you think it would be believable if some Italian guy was like, I'm not in the mob? Yeah, they're just letting random guys play cards in a gambling den with a bunch of mafioso.
Damn.
Use your brain, Jessica.
He murdered her. He murdered her on television.
And I don't even believe you this 2-year-old nonsense. Oh, you just listen to what the lawyers for these migrants tell you.
Absolutely. That's who you should trust. Trust the lawyer trying to defend their client. True.
And then the day later, it's all wrong. You know what the protocol is? When you pick up an illegal, you don't know this. I'll tell you this for the first time. When you pick up an illegal and they happen to have their kid with them, they get a choice. Do you want to be deported with your child, or you can assign a family member or a guardian here in the United States to leave the child there?
Damn, you just figured her.
That's the choice. And if you don't like the law, then go to Congress, change the law. Because otherwise, you just get women here, coming here, breaking through the
God damn, he's killing her!
border, having babies, and they all get to stay because you feel bad. I'm sorry. You can...
No more suicidal empathy. God damn it. The woman moment did not work. The woman moment almost worked. It almost worked, but she got fingered.
Feel bad about a lot of things, but I'd rather follow the law.
Yeah, bro hit 3 crits in a row right there. Not even crazy. Oh my God, he murdered her. Think, Jessica. Think. Yeah, anyway, Tulsi Gabbard, of course, said that her office identified 700 people with ties to foreign terrorist gangs, like MS-13 and Tren de Aragua, almost 600 individuals with ties to other terrorists that were led into the country by Biden. A lot of people right now are calling out Biden committed treason by letting all these people in. I am not getting into that specific treason argument right now. I am just saying that's what other people are saying, okay? And Tulsi Gabbard apparently knows what she's saying. Evidence? I don't know, man. She wouldn't be saying this probably if it wasn't pretty close to true.
Very closely with your great attention. I'd like to highlight just 3 of the areas where we are helping to support your leadership and your work in making America safe again and bringing about these changes. First of all, because of your designation of cartels as foreign terrorist organizations,
finally,
I took immediate action with our National Counterterrorism Center to prioritize their focus on those terrorists and gang members who are trying to enter our country through legal or illegal means, and to seek out those who already are here in our country because of the Biden administration's 4 years of open borders. We've been working very closely with your great Attorney General's team at the DEA to get these known cartels into our systems, to be able to stop them at the border, and turning over names to Department of Homeland Security and the FBI to be able to find those who are already here in our country. Just the other day, we found 700 alien terrorists who have ties to S-13, Tren de Aragua, and the Sinaloa cartel. Just yesterday, our NCTC identified almost 600 individuals with ties to other terrorists who came through our borders illegally, claimed asylum, and under the Biden administration were paroled here within our borders.
Absolute insanity. That's crazy. I don't know. I'm not the one calling it treason. Other people are calling it treason. But that's crazy to think about. I can't believe the first female president would spit so many facts like that. But don't worry, because we got other people spitting facts, like Tim Walz. Remember him? He was almost vice president. Tampon Tim, almost vice president. Well, he accidentally exposed Kamala Harris today.
I'm a team player. I'm with it. And there's folks that I recognize are smarter than me. They analyze this. You put your input in.
Right.
Running a campaign that had never been run before, 100 days, in the situation we were at, running against a very unusual opponent on the other side. And
true.
My job was to do it. Look, I knew I was on the ticket. I would argue because we did a lot of amazing progressive things in Minnesota that improved people's lives. But I also was on the ticket, quite honestly, you know, because I could code talk to white guys watching football fixing their truck.
He said the quiet part out loud. He's such a cuck. The first ever white male DEI hire, bro. He just admitted it. I can't believe this. He can't believe Tim Waltz was the diversity hire. He straight up said that. I am here to talk to white people and try to convince them that we're going to be doing good by them, while we, you know, roll out DEI situations to prevent white people from getting into universities. Hell yeah, dude. The anti-white party included him to bro talk to white people.
Doing that I could put them at ease. I was the permission structure to say, look, you can do this and vote for this. And you look across those swing states, with the exception...
All 7 swing states! Clearly didn't work. Clearly didn't work. Tampon Tin tried to code talk.
...of Minnesota, we didn't get enough of those votes.
Yeah, turns out you're just not manly enough or something, I guess.
Giving them permission on TV every day. You could have been messaging that way, and that isn't necessarily how it shook out.
Well, yes, but I also said I understand myself. I said I think I'll give you pretty good stuff, but I'll also give
Do you? You got absolutely fucking railed against Vance in the debate.
You 10% problematic. And so somebody's got to make the decision here to handle some of this stuff and to make it in. Those are just decisions that were made. And I think after the fact, it is not second guessing or anything. I think it's fair to go back on and look at this. Look, we had the most qualified person who'd run for president in this country's history at the time.
Kamala Harris, the most qualified person in this country's history.
Top of the ticket. That in itself should have got
Cryo Trump in the 7 swing states.
This thing won. We had, in my opinion, and you can disagree with me, I think history will prove me right, a very unqualified person on the other side.
Well, you won at least 2 elections, so listen. Oh God, he's trying so hard. He's trying so hard, it's crazy. Anywho, the FBI reportedly reassigned the agents who kneeled with the BLM protests during the George Floyd riots, according to CNN. I don't know how she is in the FBI. Bro, dude, ain't no way. Ain't no way they got this person. Like, this is everything that's going... Dude, what is even happening? Look, I don't want to stereotype or anything. This is a mask-wearing, obese lady that's supposedly an FBI member kneeling at a riot? Bro, she ate the FBI. I don't even know how these people get there. You should be in a single area code at a time if you want to be in the FBI. You should not be manipulating the gravitational forces of the bullets fired to hit you faster if you are in the FBI. Bro, if she was kneeling because her knees couldn't support her weight, I would have more respect for her as an FBI agent. And now apparently she's getting reassigned. Obviously people are freaking out about this. I can't believe they would reassign her. I can't believe they have DEI hire FBI agents. It's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me. But don't worry, that's not the only underqualified police type agent that has recently gotten under fire. Let me introduce you to Philippe Gnomes.
Last week,
Gomes.
Redwood City Police arrested Gomes at the Belmont Police headquarters.
All right, so this is a Belmont police officer arrested for rape. This is obviously a terrible thing. It's obviously an awful fucking thing that happened. There's a twist in this story, and you will love the twist.
On Penal Code 261A1, rape of someone who was incapable of giving legal consent due to a mental disorder.
Disgusting. Despicable shit, honestly. To El Salvador, baby. That is fucking awful. Get ready, it gets worse.
Before he hired Gomes, the I-team has learned that Chief Stenquist received phone calls from the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office and East Palo Alto Police warning him that both agencies had rejected Gomes.
I wonder why other agencies rejected Gomes. Don't worry. Don't worry, it gets worse. The levels of retarded Democrat situations are through the roof today. Democrats 210% fucked might be the flagship of this entire franchise.
Because of his domestic violence arrest in 2017.
Oh, God. So let me get this straight. This is someone who raped a person who couldn't consent, who also was arrested in 2017 for domestic violence. That's a pretty crazy twist, but don't worry, it gets worse.
When a department head calls you and says something's wrong, take a closer look, or don't hire someone, you should take a closer look.
Court records show that Gomes and his wife were on vacation from their home in Brazil at this Ramada Inn in Kissimmee, Florida.
All right.
The charging affidavit says they'd been married a year when Gomes spotted texts on his wife's cell
Dude, everyone's spamming my chat. How could it get worse? It gets worse!
phone from an ex-boyfriend, and that he struck her repeatedly in the face
That's
and
fucked
stomach.
up.
An officer wrote that he observed a large bruise that covered most of his wife's left cheek and scratches to her right cheek. The records say Gomes accused her of hitting and scratching him first.
Maybe.
So the state attorney charged both of them with battery, domestic
hell yeah,
violence.
dude. Him and his wife, 2 domestic abusers that were later included into the police, and then arrested for rape. But it gets worse. It gets worse. The incompetence doesn't stop here.
Before dropping the charges a month later. Belmont Chief Stenquist defended hiring Gomes, emailing me, past law enforcement contact that does not result in charges are not disqualifying in of itself.
All right, so you got police officers defending Gomes, the rapist. All right, don't worry, guys. It gets worse. It gets worse, guys. I feel like I'm like fucking edging you with this story.
Under policies or applicable law.
In these special victim domestic violence cases, they're often the charges are dropped. They're dropped to have a change of heart.
Fair.
Any number of reasons.
Former San Francisco police commander and head of recruitment, Rich Correa, tells me the incident should be disqualifying, even though the case was dropped.
You don't want someone who, in a family setting, violence is a place they can escalate to. You want just the opposite.
It's kind of weird, because from my recollection, the Democrats hate the police. Why did the Democrats fight for this guy to be a police officer, right? It's a good question.
You want natural de-escalators.
Law enforcement sources also tell me Felipe Gomes is not a U.S. citizen.
It got worse. Here you have a non-U.S. citizen domestic abuser who was defended repeatedly to get him into the police and then raped somebody. How does this happen in America? So let me get this straight. You got the fucking Democratic Party waving their flags, defund the police, police bad, all police evil, and they're all brutal, defund the police. Here, they're going tooth and nail to defend a domestic abuser, non-citizen, to be a police officer, and he ends up raping somebody. Silence on all fronts. I don't see a single protest against this. There were protests against George Floyd. Remember when George Floyd's situation happened? Holy shit, that was a fucking nightmare. That was awful, right? Am I right, guys? But here, silence. You would not hear about this if not for America's 210% fucked in the critically acclaimed, well, not America, the Democrats are fucked franchise. Truly, everyone loves the America are fucked franchise. Definitely subscribe and hit that join button next to the subscribe button to support me in my incredible work.
SB 960.
I could keep going at this point, but you got the idea. Philippe Gomes is a non-citizen working as a police officer in, of course, California, arrested for raping a woman with a mental disorder and previously arrested for a domestic violence charge before becoming a cop. Zero outrage, zero discussion, zero protest, Democrat-backed. In California, this is retarded. It is. It's absolutely retarded. But don't worry. Other crazy shit happens, because here we got another classic Democrat California state senator, Scott Weiner, truly defending people with wieners.
Good morning, Aaron.
And you're probably wondering, wait, people in California defending people with penises? That doesn't sound like California.
Friday of our duty. We oppose unless amended. SB 337 needs to address the elephant in the room.
All right.
Trans-identified males in women's prisons. You cannot slap a Band-Aid on a gaping wound.
What?
To decrease sexual assaults of inmates, one must address all of the risk factors.
What?
I respect that Senator Menjivar recognizes that inmates should not be subjected to sexual assaults.
Wow, what a good take. Not letting women get raped in prison? Damn, that's pretty based, I would say. Yeah, I agree. I also don't want women to get raped in prison.
That spacious guards and contractors should not use their authority
True.
to punish inmates above and beyond their sentences.
Also true. I don't think guards should do that either. Good point.
But why? Why are you ignoring the threat that should never have been? The threat of men who believe that they are women able to physically and sexually abuse these females.
Great question.
This threat is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and...
Yeah, so the truth of the matter is, suspiciously enough, this is gonna make you incredibly weirded out, you might hear. They want to get people, biological men, that are arrested for rape can claim in court to be women and would go to women's prisons. They are taking biological male rapists and putting them in women's prisons with women in the same set. Like, what is going on? Like, what are we even talking about? When did women's rights become a joke to these people?
for some females the rest of their lives. A public records request revealed that 1 in 3 male inmates seeking to transfer to women's facilities are registered sex offenders.
Interesting, huh? Interesting. This is suicidal empathy tendencies. Common sense is dead. We have to just be super empathetic to everybody. I'll be honest, if I am ever arrested for rape in California, I would also claim to be a woman. All right, listen, I'm just saying, first of all, that's never going to happen because I am never going to rape anybody. Never have, never will. I'm not that type of dude. But if I would claim to be a woman too. Like, this is insane. It's completely asinine.
45 males are currently locked up with females. That means 45 males sharing tiny cells with females that is locked up at night, that is unobserved most of the time.
Yeah, I wonder what happens. Let's take a biological male rapist and put this person with a woman in a cell, unobserved. What do you think is gonna happen?
45 bodies that can overpower the average woman, 45 males that roam freely in the yards, 45 males that can cause immediate fear in the female population, 45 males that will soon be 1,000 if all of them who are asking to be transferred are transferred.
1,000 people in men prisons were like, I'm a woman too. Do you see what I'm saying? This is retarded.
The hypocrisy of SB 337 without addressing the full panoply of known dangers must be called out. Vote no on SB 337 unless it's amended to include the trans-identifying males.
Just for the record.
Yeah, how insane is this?
I don't subscribe to the view that we should somehow not protect folks from sexual violence by guards unless we also target and demonize trans people.
This is fucking crazy. Like, this is insane. Like, how is that an even remotely normal response? What are you talking about? What are you saying?
I don't subscribe to that. I think it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous to assume that the 1,000 people in male prisons that are claiming to be women now might be lying. That's demonizing trans people. Again, it's retarded. What are you even gonna do? Now, this is hilarious. There's a bill that was they're trying to pass to ban congressional stock trading. I personally completely agree with this. I think that congressional stock trading is wildly unethical. I think so much fucking insider trading happens. I hope that it's banned. But here's the really funny thing. They want to call it the Pelosi Act, preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments. The Pelosi Act. They literally want to name it after Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic alleged insider trader who, despite being on a salary of $200,000 a year, is worth $200 million. She is worth $200 million on a $200K a year salary. If that's not insider trading, I don't know what is. So they want to make this act, the preventing elected leaders from owning securities and investments, the Pelosi Act. And this might be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I am so glad I have the Democrats Are Cooked franchise to actually talk about situations exactly like this. Of course, other fun things that are happening in the world, we found more money cuts.
We saved $250 million by canceling America Last, is what I call it, foreign handouts, including funding for things like transparency and accountability for Uzbekistan cotton industry.
They were funding the Uzbekistan cotton farming industry.
It doesn't make sense that we're funding, these foreign, and thank you to Doge and to the agency of what we have found with the fraud that we're seeing.
I mean, some of these things are so ridiculous, you can't believe it.
No, I write them down more than once. Yeah.
It's crazy. And everyone's upset at Doge. Again, I think Doge is like the ultimate retard detector. If you're out there freaking out that Doge is literally auditing fucking government money, you might be retarded.
That's right. And so again, with the executive order preparing Americans for high-paying skilled trade jobs of the future, that's our goal.
Yeah, so anyway, that was not just a little deal. That was a $250 million grant for transparency and accountability of Uzbekistan cotton farmers. This is retarded. This is so crazy. $250 million for transparency of Uzbekistan cotton farming? It sounds so stupid, but it's true. But it's true. The craziest thing is you get more and more retard scenarios on the daily.
Initial pushback against President Trump's immigration crackdown.
By the way, all these things that I'm showing you in this video, everything until here, this all happened in the last 24 hours. Okay?
This comes after dozens were arrested in January during Border Patrol's Operation Return to Sender, where agents rounded up people determined to have entered the country illegally. California District Judge Jennifer Thurston demanded CBP agents cannot arrest suspected illegal migrants without a warrant or reason to believe the person is a flight risk before they can get one.
They need specific individual warrants for illegal immigrants? What? What are we even talking about? Like, this is insane. Appointed by Joe Biden, surprisingly. No one saw this one coming. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Specific individual warrants for every single one? Like, you can't even believe this. So this is Mike Lee. Mike Lee is a government official saying it appears that we have another judge problem. A U.S. District Judge, Jennifer Thurston, has issued an order banning Border Patrol from arresting illegal aliens unless they have a warrant. Officers routinely arrest without an arrest warrant when they acquire probable cause to believe a crime has been committed. 8 U.S.C. Law 1357 explicitly authorizes Border Patrol to make warrantless arrests for immigration violations, particularly if the person is entering the U.S. illegally. I cannot fathom the justification for a judicial officer to prohibit the Border Patrol from arresting an illegal alien without a warrant. Psycho activist judges. That is why it's happening. I don't know who this fucking shadow cabal is that's literally making judges break the law all the time. They all think they're Judge Dredd. They are all breaking the law by doing stuff like this. You got judges hiding illegal immigrants in their fucking basement. You got judges giving weapons to illegal immigrants. You got judges scurrying to get illegal immigrants out of the back doors of courthouses so that ICE agents can't find them. Like, what is going on in America? This is like almost a judicial coup. It's insane. Of course, there was a poll that was done, and I think this is hilarious. This is fucking awesome. The negative coverage on Trump's cabinet and allies in the first 100 days. Fox News did a tally, so who knows if it's super accurate, but apparently RFK Jr. got 89% negative coverage in the media. Elon Musk got 96% negative coverage in the media, and Pete Hegseth 100% negative coverage in the media. Every single story ever run on Pete Hegseth, well, ever, in the first 100 days of the presidency, every single story was negative. There was not a single positive story ran on this guy in the last 100 days. How insane is this? This is what you're up against. This is what is going on. It is a gigantic fucking shit show. The entire Democratic Party is in shambles right now. In shambles, I tell you. Like, dude, they keep fighting for losing causes.
We are fighting back every single day. We are fighting to protect immigrants.
This is Ilhan Omar, by the way, allegedly married her own brother to get him into the country, allegedly.
Families from mass detention and deportation.
Yep, fighting back, fighting for the illegal immigrants. She would know. She's involved in those people. Another situation that needs to be looked into. This individual is a teacher at a high school in PA facing 63 charges for allegedly having sex with a student. She would reportedly pick him up for school to smoke marijuana and have sex. Who is vetting the fucking teachers in America? This is why the fucking Department of Education has to go. This is another situation that happened literally within the last 24 hours. You don't understand the insanity that is going on. DHS just rescued two sisters, aged 16 and 18, who came into the U.S. as unaccompanied minors. What do you think that means? An unaccompanied minor that entered the U.S. illegally. They were allegedly being pimped out for sex in a hotel in West Covina, California. The Biden administration lost track of more than 320,000 migrant kids. You're telling me this isn't a crisis? You're telling me that the people fighting for the illegal immigrants and the sex traffickers are the good guys? Like, how do you be on the wrong? How do you be in the wrong that badly that you're defending the terrorists and not defending the victims? I don't even know how to talk about something like this. It's insane. And finally, I wanted to end with maybe the saddest story of the entire video. I'm probably going to cover the Hassan stuff in a future video because this one ended up long. There's a lot of retards to cover, so I'll cover the Hassan stuff later. But I felt like this was definitely important to bring up. It was absolutely important to bring up. This is very sad, so a moment of silence. There's a Canadian transgender singer that doesn't feel safe in America and doesn't want to come to America to sing.
This is not a super fun video to make. I'm going to try to keep it quick, keep your attention. I am pulling out of the All Roads Festival in Maine to play on May 16th, and that's because it doesn't feel safe for me to go across the border into the States as a Canadian trans guy. I just don't feel like it's worth the risk. I want to thank All Roads for booking me because I would have loved to be there with you, and thank you for understanding and being so
my
supportive.
heart is so
I also want to
painful.
give a big shout out to my friend Bells Larson, who announced today that he has to cancel the US leg of his album. He has a really beautiful record coming out at the end of April, so if you don't already follow him, please follow him and get ready for that.
Sadness.
He was informed by the Musicians Union that they couldn't process his visa application because the US is no longer approving visas for people whose passport gender marker does not match their birth certificate gender marker.
Horror!
Is really upsetting, obviously. It has huge implications for all trans people from anywhere outside the States.
This has huge implications, guys. Listen, you know what, honestly, I think that you should rebook your tour. I think that you should probably go do your music festival in one of the hardcore Islamic extremist countries that you protest for every day. I think you should go there instead of the United States. You know, the United States, they're really not a safe place for trans people anymore. I think people in Gaza would definitely look at you in a very different light. Maybe check that place out. They love you there. Yes, absolutely. Yemen would love you, my homie, my friend. So anyway, I wanted to wrap up with this very sad story. Everyone is literally crying. Drop an F in the chat. Definitely subscribe for more sad tales and stories, more absolute heart-rending situations. Definitely hit the join button. We have a new join button under the YouTube channel. You could become a member of the channel, support your boy. That would be very appreciated. Thank you very much. You should absolutely help and support the Democrats Are Fucked franchise, YouTube's second favorite franchise. It's true. It's a fact. I looked into the stats. It's all true. So I'll see you in the next one, gamers, and remember to stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.